She's a cultural disruptor, one of the boldest faces to emerge from Drag Race Germany. Her face could cut through glass, her wardrobe is stitched in queer history, and her wit slaps as hard as her contour. I have the privilege today to welcome Yvonne Nightstand at Taxpigs.
Hey, thank you. Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
You grew up in Mainz, Germany. You're a trained costume designer, costume maker, and you first stepped into drag 11 years ago, right?
Yeah, when I moved to Berlin, I was like, I had like friends in the scene and people doing it, and I just kind of wanted to try it out as well.
Right. That was after finishing university, right?
No, that was after finishing high school when I was 19 when I came to Berlin, and I started drag before I started uni actually.
When you started, did it feel like just a side gig?
Yeah,
or-
totally. It was just more. It's just a hobby and just like something like a little itch you have. I think because when I was a child, I was already loving to dress up and always getting into drag anyways. And I think it's something that you have inside you. And as soon as you get to a city where you have the possibility to do it, I think it just comes out naturally.
And when did you think, wow, okay, this could become my career?
It probably not until Drag Race actually. I was never really thinking about drag as a full-time career, as a full-time job until I did Drag Race, and I suddenly had the opportunity to live off it, which wasn't really a possibility before.
So when you started Drag Race, when you joined Drag Race, what was the intention behind that moment? You were like, I'm going to try.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to do Drag Race because it's been my favorite show for 10 years, and I never thought it would be a possibility to do Drag Race in Germany. And then when they sent out the call, I was like, there's no way I'm not gonna do it. I think every drag queen wants to do Drag Race, I think, or most of them. Sorry.
Yeah. And then so Drag Race happens, you are a finalist, you become a very influential face of drag in Germany. And your agenda starts filling up, you know, as a consequence. And so at this moment you decide, okay, I think I could do this full time, right?
Yes, exactly. It happened more naturally than it wasn't one big decision. I was working in film before and I was in between projects anyways. And I wasn't quite sure if it was the right career for me. And then when my calendar started filling up and suddenly I had a lot of gigs and suddenly I made enough money to live off it, it just gradually became a full-time job.
Yeah, and was it scary at that moment to think like, okay, I could be relying on drag to pay my bills?
Yeah, I think going freelance and like living off your art is always a scary step because there's also the possibility of it brings you joy and you do it because you love it, and making it a full-time job, of course, is a risky business because it turns into a business and then you might not enjoy it anymore. But it wasn't super scary because it happened so naturally. I don't know, I just kind of slipped into it. So I didn't even realize until I suddenly realized I was doing it full-time.
And how is it for you then, you know, to register self-employed, to get that information about how to live as a freelance artist as well?
Yeah, that was a tricky part because it's not really there's not really a manual for how to do drag full time and like how to become a freelancer doing drag. I'm sure. I mean, there's obviously online resources for going freelance, but that was the part that was the most scary to me because I had no clue, and there's not that many drag queens in the German atmosphere actually doing full time. So even asking others is hard because not a lot of queens do it full time. So you just kind of have to figure it out by yourself. And the scariest part is, I think, being afraid of doing something wrong and like getting into trouble with the law, basically.
Then did you ever feel lost in certain moments, you know, about all this, you know, admin and bureaucracy, and who helped you in these moments?
Yeah, definitely. I felt lost, especially with doing my taxes or even not knowing how to do my taxes. I think especially just like finding the beginning and where to start is a really hard part. And I just asked around, and often it's just things that you kind of pick up in conversations where people mention something and you're like, oh, should I be doing that? Because I didn't actually know that I had to do this. Or you don't know because in Germany you have a certain amount that you can make without having to do pay your Umsatzsteuer. Just knowing that is something that you don't really know until you kind of hear it from someone else.
And so is there like specific people who helped you in that process as well?
Yes, I think my friend from Drag Race Germany, Meta Market, who's been doing drag full time in Vienna, definitely helped me with those kind of things. And then I'm very lucky that a friend of mine's mother is a Steuerberater, a tax lady.
Oh wow, yeah.
So she helped me with my taxes. So I was lucky that I had people in my circle that could help me. But I think it's also for some people that maybe don't even have a big circle here when they move here. It's probably quite scary, and especially in Germany. The bureaucracy is crazy. I read those things and I don't understand the word sometimes. So
right. And so I think probably then your advice to like young drag queens would be like, don't hesitate to reach out and ask for help.
Exactly. Just don't be embarrassed. Just ask, and yeah, just ask. It's the easiest thing you can do.
Yeah, for sure. And the drag community is very supportive as well. You know, when
sometimes if you hang with the right drag queens, it is supportive.
I've been very lucky there.
I'll help you, but I don't know if you should take like financial help from me. To be honest,
we're all doing what we can. To be honest. So,
and if you land in jail, it's not my fault. I'm sorry.
Yes. I remember the first time we chatted. You told me that sometimes it's hard to like say your rate as an artist, right? I've heard this also from many artists. It's like, okay, what should I ask for, etc. How did you learn, okay, this is what I'm worth?
I think I'm still learning, to be honest. I feel like often you're scared to ask for higher rates because you don't want to seem like a diva, or you want people to still work with you. You want to seem pleasant to work with, or you're just scared of being a bit obnoxious. But I found you can always ask for more. They can always say no, and if they say yes immediately, you'll probably ask for too little. I'm still figuring that out, to be honest. Like I've gotten better at it, but sometimes I don't know if it's a German in me. I'm like very hesitant to ask for money, so I'm always have to push myself. But I've gotten better at it. It's really important to know your worth, especially if you live of it. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to pay your rent and your bills, so you have to ask for money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also when it comes to taxes as well, there's so many expenses you can claim as a drag artist. Do you think that most of the drag queens actually claim these expenses or are aware of that?
No, I don't think so, because most drag queens, I don't think, actually do their tax. Like, I think a lot of drag queens actually are employed on the side, so they don't really have to do their taxes. And I think, but they still could write all these expenses, but I don't think they do. And even I have to force myself to keep every receipt, and then in the end, like submit it all because it's so much work. But like, it's really worth it. Yeah, just keep everything.
Absolutely. Can you tell us like maybe a few things that you can expense that you know, and maybe things that are not so obvious?
I mean, from the obvious things like makeup, hair, outfits, to your phone bill, to even if you go have dinner with business colleagues, always get a receipt for that because you can write that off. All your travel expenses, hotels, trains. What am I forgetting? Basically almost everything. If you go to DM and get things that are like adjacent to your drag, try write it all off.
Did you ever receive like any financial, like help, like educations, like how to like, deal with these things?
In school, no, not at all. No, we learned, the only things we learned about was more, just math, obviously, even though didn't keep any of that. And then we learned more about politics and stuff, but like I think in the German school system, there's not a lot of, maybe it changed or maybe it's different in other states in Germany, but we didn't learn anything about financials.
Yeah. Do you think in that sense that queer creators and artists are also kind of like maybe a little bit excluded from like financial narratives and from like...
Yeah, because I feel like it's a pretty straight male dominated field probably. And I think we get excluded, but I think we also exclude ourselves a bit from it because it's kind of scary. I think especially in entertainment, because we're the distraction from all that for people. They don't really realize that we also have to pay taxes and we also have to make money. So they don't really draw this connection between us and also these serious things, because we're there to distract from the seriousness. But at the end of the day, I also have to pay my taxes.
I'd like to understand now what you see as success.
For me, success is when for me that I can do this thing that I love and do it as work, and it's a full-time job, but it doesn't feel like work. Like I'm enjoying myself so much while working, which to me is the most valuable part about it. Because I think there's nothing worse than working and kind of dreading it or like hating your job. I think that just ruins your life basically. So I think success doesn't have to be a lot of money, or you don't have to be the most famous person in the world. But I think if you feel content and happy in what you're doing and just do what you love without without feeling remorse about anything. I think that's what makes life really, really more livable, I think.
What is the advice that you would give today to a young queen who's starting with all the knowledge and wisdom that you've acquired across the years?
I know it's scary, especially in these times, because the political climate has changed a lot.
Yeah.
Don't be scared to get out there and try to be a part of the community. I mean, it's great if you want to start, but also try to connect with people. Don't just come into the club and think you're the one, but kind of pay your dues a bit. Show respect to the elders, I guess, because that's really how you're gonna have longevity in the long run in this career. And don't be scared to ask for things. Don't be scared to talk to people. And be nice.
And be nice.
And be nice, yeah. It pays off, I tell you.
Yes. Let's not take that for granted. Yes, to kindness. Actually, Yvonne.
Yes.
We come to the end of the interview.
No.
But I have one last question for you. If you had to define your financial journey in one word, what would it be? For your life?
Gaga Google.
I feel like I was reading in your mind and getting all the stuff that was coming through.
I guess Gaga Google is 2 words, I'm sorry.
We'll just like make it German.
Yeah,
we'll just like link them together. To Gaga Cuckoo.
Gaga Google.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.